You are like a battery. Okay, let me explain. I mean that we operate like a battery. So hear me out. When a battery is draining, what happens? As it goes down to 5, 3 to 0%, think about your remote control. Think about the vacuum cleaner. If it's battery operated and as it comes down, you try to change the channel with the remote, it's less effective. It doesn't change the channel as accurately, right? And what happens to a vacuum cleaner? It's slow. The suction isn't as powerful. It isn't as effective and efficient, right? Now, the other example I could think of is if you know of what tape recorder is that when you play the tape recorder, it is normal sound, normal speed, right? And then as the battery dies, it slows down and eventually it dies. It dies. Now, when you are completely drained, your energy is completely drained, what happens? You start getting really tired, you feel heavy in your body, you feel frustrated, you have so much going on, and you just feel like you're weighted down. You're not as vibrant and effective and efficient as you would be if your battery is at 100%, right? Now let's consider the charger. What happens when a battery needs to be charged? What do you do with it? You take the battery, you put it in the charger. And what do you do then? You plug it in and you just wait. You leave it alone, right? Think about your phone or any device, your laptop. If you plug it in and you wait, you allow whatever time it just charges up. And then it starts operating at its normal capacity and range, right? But if you plug it in when it's super, super low battery, and then you're trying to work on this like heavy document, you have 5 windows open and just using so much more, what happens? It either is a very slow process to get your work done, opening certain things, closing certain documents, or eventually the more you work on it, and if you're not watching the battery, it dies because you're using more of the battery than what it has, and it hasn't had enough time to fuel and recharge. You didn't let the charging to do its thing. You didn't leave it alone, right? Now also consider this. The charger itself. What is the most sort of efficient way that you know that it will get charged the fastest and without a problem? In most cases, is whatever charger or plugs that it came with the device from manufacturers or whatever, right? You plug that in, assuming there's no defects, you plug it in, you leave it alone, and it will do its job on charging it. Now, let's say, and I'm sure we have all done this, that we use we buy a charging cord from Amazon, from a dollar store that looks the same. We plug it in, but in back of our mind, we're always kind of like uncertain, right? We are uncertain if it will work properly, it will be charging, whether it will even mess up your device and the health of your battery, because you just don't know. and usually takes a lot longer to charge. And sometimes it's not even compatible, even though you could plug it in. It just doesn't work. So that speaks to that when we as a being are not careful on where we are refueling ourselves, where we are recharging our energy, we can't expect to come back and operate from the 100% capacity that we were meant to. So if we combine all this together, what we need as a being, as this battery analogy, is that when we are at 100%, everything is amazing, everything works, and we could tap into all of the capacity that we have. And then when we watch our battery drains, and we know to plug it into the right source, and then we allowed ourselves to fully charge without any interruptions, any distractions, just allow the charging and the resting and the refueling and the recharging, and to do that on its own. The battery doesn't do anything. The charger does everything. We just have to be there to allow that to happen. And from there, we can reach up and to be at 100%, and then we can operate again. But when we don't do that, when we use up to the last bit of 5% and 3% and still pushing it, then it just doesn't work. Then you're really straining the battery. And then when you go and plug into any random thing that you're so desperate to because you can't find your right source of charger, then you get all kind of wacky stuff that's happening, that's being transferred into you. And maybe you could get to 80% and you go back and do its thing. And maybe it's 50, but you're never really certain when you don't allow yourself to charge fully and freely from the right source. So my invitation in this conversation is for you to reflect on where you are and see where your battery life is at right now. And just notice, just be aware on seeing how and where you are refueling and recharging your space. Where is the source that you're charging from? And if you are giving this ample space for yourself to be fully rested, fully charged, so just take notice where you are at. Because awareness of where you are is the key to the next step, which is actually doing something about it. If you have any questions, any comments, please share with me below. My name is SUZII, SUZII, 2 I's, because I believe the I in me sees the I in you. I love you.